For starters, Mycopunk is a mission-based FPS online co-op, though you can solo if you want. There's 4 classes, characters, or employees you can choose, each with their own 2 abilities: Wrangler, Bruiser, Scrapper, and Glider. Wrangler, a robot cowboy who has the ability to air dash to get out of dire situations, and a rocket lasso, basically a rocket-powered rope that launches you forward. It can also be used to grab onto objects like healing orbs and pull them to you. Bruiser, a 4-legged security bot who can provide a single burial shield to protect not only himself but his allies. Nosedive, right after you jump, launches yourself high in the air, then press the ability button again to perform a ground slam. Scrapper, who gets its name by building itself back up by the scraps of other robots, can quickly construct a tall pole that anyone can grapple to, and a jetpack. Glider, and air support, who can shoot a barrage of rockets and can deal damage to enemies or heal allies. A wingsuit, by holding jump in the air, you can activate the wing jets and fly forward. As you can see, each of the abilities of those characters all have cooldowns, so use them wisely. By far, there's only 9 guns and 3 grenades. Each of the 3 uses a different element: fire, shock, and corrosive. Though seems a limited amount, however, each of the weapons has its own unique designs, including the upgrades. Personal favorites of mine are Jackrabbit, Lead Flinger, Trident, DMLR, and Gunship Cannon. There's the Cycler. It's a basic assault rifle with some cool upgrades. Then there's the Swarm Launcher and the Plate Launcher. Honestly, I'm not a fan of the Swarm Launcher. Guess you could say that's not my type, though the Plate Launcher is pretty cool, especially with certain builds. The 9th gun, unfortunately, I don't have any possessions of it due to being not only a secret, but having a particular step of the secret that is a complete pain in the ass. And it actually resolves around a certain issue that we would come back to in a moment. Now, a while ago, I spoke about the upgrades when it comes to the weapons. This game has a quite unique upgrade system. Equipping them is like solving a puzzle. You gotta figure what combination works based off what would fit. Not just your weapons that can be upgraded, also the characters, which can go pretty insane. As you level up a selected character and selected weapons, the upgrade slots would increase to the max at level 10. There are 4 different rarities of the upgrades: Standard, Rare, Epic, and Exotic. Each of the upgrades had a current theme based on the rarities. For example, Standard provides simple upgrades such as increased max size or ammo cap. Rare can make slight changes like the gun's elemental damage or how it's fired. Epic can make a major change like making DMLR's laser into a healing beam. Exotic can completely change how a weapon works or add a new ability such as Lead Flinger becoming a machine gun after destroying an enemy's core. Now, speaking of enemies, the enemies in this game have a pretty interesting design. There's at least a few different shapes and sizes, whether it be big or small, a round shape or square shape, and so on. The 2 things the enemies all have in common are the tentacle-like limbs and the core. The limbs can be destroyed, however, to eliminate them instantly, you gotta destroy the core, though you have to go through its shell, and some are tougher than others. It's best to destroy the weapons that the enemies are holding even before or after you kill them, because even the smallest would actually take whatever it is for them to grab. And there are different kinds. So far, there are 6 types of missions to choose from: Regulator Rampage, cleanup detail, prize possession, planetary defense, Saxonite transport, and satellite salvage. This game's soundtracks, especially during combat, can go pretty hard. Just listen to some of the examples. Past the combat OST, the rest of the OST fits with the game's atmosphere pretty well. It kinda reminds me of how Deep Rock Galactic does with its OST. You know, I'm glad that I brought this up because I'm starting to see some DRG inspirations. A space station as a hub world, which in this game is called a Roach Hotel, a mission controller, they use a drop pod, and they're working on a planet with, so far, 4 different zones. Reviving your allies or getting revived is quite different from what it's traditionally done. Whenever someone dies, they be blown to 2 parts, torso and legs. To bring them back, you take one of the parts and have to touch the other. Quite simple. As someone who 100% the achievements, 35 in total, the difficulty overall, it's pretty much on the normal side. Most of them are just by playing the game, including discovering secrets and interacting the hub world. There are a couple achievements that aren't difficult, it's just a bit grindy, such as Serial Killer, which you killed 5,000 enemies, and Employee of the Day, you had to reach player level 30. There's a difference on character level and player level. Basically what you're seeing right now is how it works. Now, even with the good things I have to say about Mycopunk, however, I do have some annoyance and a negative. The detection of where you're getting hit from is not well done. The hit detections are on the edges of the screen, which is fine. Some other games do that. But with the mix of the color they choose, which is red, and the colors of the game's art, it's very difficult to see, which is not very necessarily. If they pick a different color, such as light blue, it would have been a much better experience, plus it would make sense based on the characters we're playing, who are robots. I lost count of how many times I almost got screwed over because of it. Though it does tell you what killed you when you die, so that's something. Secondly, the RNG. At least until the recent update, as I was writing this review, basically they heavily increased the chance of getting a non-duplicate upgrade by 75%. So props to the devs for listening to feedback because there are plenty of people who are having this issue. There are a couple of consumables that you can find that gives you a more control of the 100% random upgrades. So there's that. Lastly, difficulty scaling is non-existent. It did not matter if you're soloing or playing with others, full team or not, it feels the same. But the difference is that solo play, especially at level 4 or above, is a miserable experience. It's fine, like I get it if it's encouraging a full online co-op, but that's kind of pushing it a little too far. Which comes back to what I was saying, back to one of the steps of a secret. Keep in mind, it is in early access, so some things might be attempted to change or added on later on. Overall, despite the annoyance I have with the game here and there, Mycopunk is a pretty solid game. If you have an itch of a game like Deep Rock Galactic to scratch, give it a go. For now, I'll put it at a B tier.